Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Easton School Committee meeting of Thursday, May 23rd, 2024. This meeting is open. This meeting is open to the public and will be held in a hybrid format where attendance by board and committee members can be in person or remote. We currently have all voting members in person. We may have a school committee member joining virtually, and that will be noted in the minutes if and when she arrives. We will have public comment later on in the agenda. Any members of the public who wish to speak at that time will be invited to speak and will need to provide their name and address before beginning their comments. So with that, we are ready to go. Okay, so officially calling the meeting to order. So first item on the agenda is the introduction of the Student Advisory Council to the school committee. Mrs. Pruitt?
Sure. Before we begin, I just want to point out to ECAT, we're receiving notification that the panel's not showing. So I don't know, ECAT, if you have the ability to change that.
Okay. We'll pause for a moment.
Okay. Would you like me to go check with him back there? Okay.
Thank you. Sailing guys always. There we go. Oh, there you go. All right. Thank you. And we're back. So resuming, our first item on the agenda is the introduction of our Student Advisory Council to the school committee. Mrs. Pruitt.
Thank you. Principal Kelly Kavanaugh and Social Studies Department Chair Matt Auger are here to introduce our new Student Advisory Council to the school committee.
Thank you. As you all know, last year we were really excited to embark on a journey of having a student representative, this year Marvel Nemmer, on the school committee and a school student advisory council whose primary focus is giving students in the district a voice here at school committee and sharing their experiences here in their different schools from Blanche James all the way up to OA with the school committee members and making sure that connection is really strong. And I'm going to turn the mic over to Mr. Auger. He's our social studies department chair and he ran the election for this year's school student advisory council, and we'll share you a little bit more about that.
Hi, everyone. So we were able to have a nomination process this year to see who would like to nominate themselves to be representatives here as part of this body. And after running an election, we are lucky enough to have 5 outstanding individuals who this coming school year will represent student voice as part of an advisory council for the school committee. So without further ado, representing the senior class next year will be Marvel Nemmer and Franklin Chen.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, why don't you just come right up to next.
Yes.
Representing the junior class will be Veronica Chenoy. Representing grade 10 will be Leah Marie Ivor. And then representing grade 9 will be Brendan Dolan. And so this group is going to be meeting with the school committee separately, and then they'll also be meeting with each other, and they'll also be meeting with representatives from the various schools. Additionally, it should be pointed out that we held a vote, and Marvel Nemmer will be representing this body as part of as a member of the school committee. Well, we'll come to the school committee meetings regularly to meet with them. So, thank you so much, everyone.
Any comments from the committee?
No. Welcome aboard.
Lauren, any comments for
Welcome.
For
I think
students?
to learn a lot from the different ideas and suggestions and things that you guys bring from the school.
Absolutely. Thank you for volunteering. I know that many of you are very, very busy and have a lot of commitments, and we are honored that you are adding this to the many activities and other areas where you can be spending your time. It's really, really valuable to us to be able to hear directly from students and build relationships with you. So we're very excited that you raised your hand and that your classmates elected you. So congratulations, and we're really looking forward to next year with you. Thank you. All right, great. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. Great job. One more round of applause. All righty. So next up, we have a presentation by our Easton Fire Chief with a possible vote. So why don't you come on up, Chief Alexander? And you can just head to the podium. There should be a microphone there that you can speak into. And Chrissy, did you have any introduction?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, that's okay. So Easton, in the year 2025, will be celebrating, as you know, its 300th anniversary. The Tricentennial Committee is working tirelessly to ensure that it is a wonderful giant party for the town of Easton and a wonderful celebration to really commemorate the long history of Easton and for the residents and celebrate all it's endured. And I know I work with the Tricentennial Committee as a representative for the schools, and Chief Alexander is here to propose locations to have a fireworks display on June 14th. And a bonfire as
And a
well,
bonfire.
sorry, and a bonfire.
That's-
Forgot the
gotta
bonfire.
have 'em all.
Sorry, on October 11th.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. We're excited. So the Tricentennial Committee approached me due to the nature of a bonfire and fireworks. Thought it might be a good fit to try to help. So here I am. I have some experience with both legally. So what we're proposing, so what we've done is we took a look around town about where could we have a fireworks display, where could we have a bonfire, and we tried some stuff like all over Ames Estate, and tried different things like that, the Ames Estate rather, and we ended up coming to the conclusion that after talking to DPW Director Field, that the spot out by where the shot putters throw, where I think right now maybe the football sleds out there, it's like a stone dust type material that's on the ground in that area, so there's no grass. There's nothing that we can destroy there, because fireworks and bonfires aren't great with grass. And it's away from people, and the fields are all there to let people be there and watch it. And we thought it'd be a wonderful location to have the fireworks display for the Tricentennial and also the bonfire. So a little background, fireworks are highly regulated in Massachusetts. So the state's involved, the company's involved, we're involved. We have to be on site when the fireworks are present. So there's a very safe event. There's buffer zones that get set up so that everybody's safe. So it's a very, very choreographed thing. So we'll have it down there in that area, and then there'll probably be you have to have like a 700-foot diameter circle around the fireworks. So 350, the tree line could count towards that buffer. So basically, we'll have everybody set back about 350 feet for the fireworks, and then which will be plenty close. And they'll have all those fields, and the school property is great because of the parking. There's a potential maybe have some type of, we'll have maybe some more discussions if this is favorably viewed about food trucks and some music and really make it a nice event. And then the bonfire would be the same location. It's a pallet-based bonfire. I've done a bunch of them in my career. They're great, they're big, people love them. Usually we have music again, some food trucks, people can eat, listen to music, watch a bonfire. It's really a great time. Kids love it. So I came tonight to present and hope to find some favorability towards having those events in that area. And the DPW will be a part of that to help make sure we take care of the property and we leave it better than we found it. I have a long history of, for a background, I used to do these in the previous role I had in another community. And we did it right on park field where the soccer fields were.
Oh, wow.
And we had a benefactor who would come in as soon as the weather broke in the spring and cut the sod and place new sod in time for soccer. So that was stressful for me. I basically had to offer my first child as collateral to make sure that we replaced the soccer field in time. Fortunately here, it's not that bad at all because we'll be able to get everything cleaned up, take care of the material, and it'll be right back to the way it was. So it's actually a wonderful location. So I'd certainly entertain any questions, thoughts, anything the committee has.
Do we know if Mary or David Twombly have had an opportunity to see if they have any questions or concerns, since it's sort of under their purview?
I'm not aware of any concerns at this time, but
Okay.
I can double check with them.
Okay.
I spoke to David.
Okay.
And he referred me to you.
Okay. Okay. All
I
right.
think I think he favorably viewed it, but understood the gravity of
Yeah.
it all and want to make sure it came through.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, great.
the
Okay, yeah. So
administration.
he's aware of it, though? and-
Absolutely.
Great, okay. Yep.
And from an insurance standpoint, are we okay?
I mean, it's the town, so
Right.
so the fireworks company has their own insurance, and then everything we do on like for the bonfire event would be it's a town sanctioned event. So I mean, if God forbid something happens, it would fall to the same thing if somebody, fell on the football field or walking across it or something like that. But we're going to have a substantial fire presence here for the bonfire, especially to make sure that there are no issues. Like we'll have multiple trucks here and hoses on the ground just in case, and we're ready to go. And it's a very safe event.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the picture,
Yes.
the photo. And the fireworks will be coming off in the same spot that the bonfire will be.
Yes.
So where will the people be watching the bonfire?
So
Looks like it's against the tree.
it is. So that'll be the backdrop. The trees will be a good backdrop, and then so everybody can for the bonfire could be up on the soccer field, and kind of looping around up towards if you were coming back up towards the track. So that whole area can be for people to sit and watch it because you got to be about 250 feet away from the bonfire when it starts. So that pushes them up onto the field, and then as the bonfire ramps down, then you can let them get closer. So we'll have it roped off to keep them safe because when the way the bonfire works is we light it off, and for about 20 minutes it starts to gain steam, if you will, and we call flash. Everything will kind of go and it gets really hot for maybe 10 minutes or so, and that's where we got to have people back so far. And then once it does that, it starts to burn down and fall in on itself, and then we can let people get closer. And then within about an hour, a little more than an hour, it turns into the best campfire you've ever had. People will come, they can put their chairs around it, they can enjoy it. It's a campfire that's 20 feet, a pile of ash. And what's really neat about the bonfire is it looks huge and it will look big to everybody when it happens. It's a big cube of pallets. But then what happens is overnight, there'll be an overnight crew who actually shovels it in on itself, and it will turn into a pile almost no bigger than my arms by the morning, and it's only about yay tall. So, and then that will be cooled off, and then we remove the pile of ash, make sure we get all the any nails or metal out that were in the pallets. We do magnets and we rake it, and we do it multiple times to make sure it's safe for everybody, and then it's back to the way we found it. Yeah, great event.
Do we know, so I know, this location, I'm just trying to picture where specifically it is. So the fields that Easton Youth Soccer has control over are further away on the campus from this, right? So this is definitely the part that's Easton Public Schools.
Right.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if that soccer field was, Madam Chair, if that was the school, if that was the soccer, but if it was the soccer, then I think we're doing the event on town property and then have to ask them if we can use their field to sit on and watch it.
Right, yes, that's
was
my question.
yeah.
Dr. Cabral, come in. You're not interrupting. Yeah, so I'm wondering, is there, and again, I appreciate that you have experience actually doing events like this. Do we have any concerns about, people using the field for seating, bringing lawn chairs, things like that, about, any issues that could stem from that?
That is one concern that Dr. Cabral and I spoke about. What are the expectations for the school around the bonfire or the fireworks as far as if people need to use the restrooms, the school won't be open.
Yeah.
Considerations like that.
Yep. But I'm also,
Questions for the tricentennial committee as
Right.
opposed to the chief.
yeah,
Right.
I did ask Ms. Brewer to reach out about.
okay,
I don't-
yes.
The expectations
Like
were
field,
maybe that they might
well,
have-
but also like the conditions of the fields, right? Having lots of,
Yes.
hundreds of people traipsing over these fields. Yeah.
Madam Chair, so those questions will probably come back to me, Dr. Cabral, because that's exactly what's going to happen. So if the bathrooms, let's say the schools are closed and we can't use those bathrooms, then we would do porta potties.
Okay.
Which is what I've done in the past.
Okay.
You just put a stack of porta potties out and they're just there for that night and then they get picked up and they're taken away. As far as the field goes, what generally happens is there's no real damage to the grass, but there's inevitably some trash. And then the overnight group that's shoveling especially the bonfire night, is shoveling it back in. They're there all night, so they walk the field and pick up any trash overnight. So when you come in the morning, it's the way you found it.
Okay, all right, but generally you would find a field playable
Oh,
for the
absolutely.
next day.
Yeah, especially where we're not doing the bonfire or the fireworks on the field.
Yep.
There's very minimal any type of like physical damage to the field that wouldn't prevent any playing.
Okay.
Is this field right here, is that the JV baseball field?
I don't know. I have a question for Ms. Kavanaugh. So so we're talking 2025, so we've got a year and a half. I would imagine that's more than enough time to plan around any big fall events. I'm thinking like the marching band competition that usually happens on a Saturday in the fall, things like that. So we'd be able to just schedule, nothing scheduled that far in advance.
Yeah, I would say the marching band competitions are typically scheduled in January, February
Okay.
of that year.
Okay.
Whereas our other school events are scheduled in May. So the other events we have, those are pretty flexible. It's more of those bigger events.
Okay.
As long as we know enough, far enough in advance, we can make those announcements.
Okay. Okay.
So we've got like schedule.
Okay.
That's being done right now.
And then as far as usage of the fields when we're present, so what will happen is we'll build the bonfire the day before with a rain date the day after. And then the same for the fireworks. But the only difference is with the fireworks, once the fireworks are on site in the afternoon, that buffer will have to be in place. So if they were going to do some type of event on the Saturday during the daytime before the fireworks, we'd have to just coordinate what time that ends around what time the fireworks material shows up. As far as the bonfire goes, people could get right up near it until it's time to do it because it doesn't have any hazard. So you could use the fields all day on that October 11th rather, which is no issue. So we can coordinate.
Yeah, it's actually better than most of them.
Yeah, because the high school season, including postseason, is generally,
Not Saturdays.
that's true, yeah. Yeah, okay. And usually over within the first couple weeks of June, yeah, okay.
So I apologize if you already talked about this, but both of these are weather contingent.
Yes.
Are there plans to mitigate for that, rain dates or?
So yeah, we'll end up doing the Sunday for the as a rain date. So for both events, so it'll be the 15th for the fireworks and the 12th for the bonfire, and hope we get it because the fireworks is easier to move as long as we can work with the schedule because they don't actually come till that afternoon to set up. So that one's actually easier to pivot than the bonfire. So like Stonehill did fireworks recently, and I think it took them 6 tries to get them off, 6 different days because of the weather. So that's much more flexible. The bonfire, once we plan to have the pallets on site, it's a lot of pallets. And once they're on site, you're kind of committed. You know, if we can't get good weather over those 2 days, it's going to be a rainy bonfire.
Or wind probably is the more of a consideration than rain for the
Wind's
bonfire.
not too bad because it's very isolated over there. So we're really protecting the trees, which is beautiful. Like it's nice near homes to have to protect homes or buildings. Anything like as far as the schools go, like we're going to have fire trucks on site. People will see embers going up and stuff, but we'll be monitoring that. We'll have drone in the air with thermal camera. We'll be watching things. So it'll be very safe for the school grounds for sure.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? No? Do you feel like we have enough? Do you guys feel like we have enough information today to vote, or anything we need followed up on? We're good.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay. All right. Would somebody like to make a motion then to accept the Let's see. To accept, how do we, was this a request from the Tricentennial Committee or from the chief? How do
I'm
we-
both, so I'm actually part of the
Okay,
Tri-Center
okay,
Committee.
okay.
They kind of adopted me into it, so
Okay,
I'm technically,
all right.
well, officially the co-chair of these events, so
Okay.
you got
Okay,
both.
I didn't realize that. I
Yeah.
have way more questions for you.
This whole
Do you want to
event
continue
is.
discussion? No.
No, I can follow up with the chief at any time.
So I was going to say that at the end. So for the purpose of these two events, you can use me as the point of contact.
Great,
And
thank
I'll
you.
get you the direct answers on whatever you need.
Perfect.
We'll make it work. We always do.
Okay, alrighty, so would somebody like to make a motion to accept the request of the Tricentennial Committee to make the school grounds available on June 14th, 2025 for fireworks and October 11th, 2025 for a bonfire, according to the details requested by Chief Alexander?
So moved, DeLuca.
Can we get a second? All right.
Madam Chair, before you vote, would you mind adding the rain dates?
Yes.
Yes.
Just in case.
Thank you, yes, all right, so, all of that, Lynn? With rain dates of June 15th, 2025 for fireworks and October 12th, 2025 for bonfire.
So moved, DeLuca.
Okay,
Second, Loomis.
and roll call vote?
Can we just go?
Oh, yes, we can, yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Yes, and just checking, has Kelly connected? Okay, all right, thank you, Chief. We
Thank you very
appreciate
much,
coming.
everybody. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Great to see you all. Thank you for the support.
Yeah, it'll be great, great events.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
Good night.
All righty. Next up is the EPS, Bully Prevention and Intervention Policy and Plan, Harassment and Bullying Prohibited, File JBA, and Policy Prohibiting and Addressing Bullying, File JICFB, first readings. Dr. Cabral.
Thank you. So we have two policies here related to bullying. We have three documents here. Two of them are policies related to bullying. The Prevention and Intervention Policy and Plan is a plan. You don't have to vote on the plan. However, the plan has to be updated biennially, and our plan expired, it expires in 2020, or excuse me, it was written in 2022, so it expires. So we have updated it. I'm going to have our DEIA Director, Carol Perez, just talk you through any adjustments on that so that you know what has been updated and why. That we are looking for your support for. As a result of any updates in the Prevention and Intervention Policy and Plan, we obviously want to make sure that any related policies of the school committee are congruent with that. And so that's why they're being presented at the same time. And your consideration on the first reading of the policies is requested, as well as your support of the updated Prevention and Intervention Policy and Plan.
Thank you.
Hopefully I've
Yes.
separated the different functions.
Hello, everyone. Hi. So maybe we can start with policy JICFB. That one has the smallest recommended revision. And actually, I don't think that one has any revisions. I think we were all set on that one, unless, I'm just looking to make sure it doesn't say. We just have to go back and change now, since central office has switched offices, to make sure that that one didn't have our address. And it does not. So we are all set with that one. If you all want to, I guess, vote on it today or not, I don't know. The
Yeah, we have to
procedure on
we have to
that.
do multiple
Yeah.
readings, so.
So
yep. Okay.
I have no recommended revisions there, and neither did our attorney.
Okay.
If you want to go to the other policy, which is file JBA, that one had just like grammar So in the section under definition of harassment, for the definition of sexual harassment, just the word title, capital T, and then
Oh, so is that in
Where
the
it says
second
Title
line?
VII in the second
Okay.
line.
Yep.
Second line of under sexual
Title
harassment.
VII of Civil
Okay.
Rights Act, comma, and then it's actually Title IX, not Title DC.
Okay. And is Title IX,
Roman
is
numerals.
it IX?
Yes.
IX,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
And I can share this with Lynn. Or I think
Absolutely.
you all have it, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Then 2 lines down where it starts, where it says sexual harassment, the H in harassment should be capital.
Where's this? Sorry, say that again.
2 lines down from where we just were, still in sexual
Oh.
harassment.
Okay, so section 4B, that
Yep.
H? Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And then includes, comma, but not limited to sexual advances.
Okay.
And then if you go to number 3, investigations and closure of complaint, our recommended revisions are the
Office
sentence that
location.
starts, if you do not wish to discuss the issue with him or her, and actually, so now that I'm here, my recommendation is that we start to change pronouns to they. As we start to look at each policy we're revising.
Yep.
So discuss the issue with them
It's the
or,
third line down in the first paragraph.
Under item 3.
Yep.
Right there. So, yep. Yep.
or if
Or
they
if
do
they.
not wish to address the problem
Okay.
in an effective manner, you should inform, and this is where I'm suggesting, instead of putting a person, we list the office. So the Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility, period. And then the office is located, and update our address to 40 Spooner Street,
48.
48, yep. And then the phone number also changed. So 508-205-5900.
Okay.
And then the last paragraph on that page, where it says, when an investigation has been completed, school personnel will inform the complainant of the results and file a report with the, scratch that and put the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and Accessibility, excuse me. Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility. Any questions on those 2 policies right now?
Has anybody done a quick check to make sure that these phone numbers of state and federal agencies are still valid?
I did a quick check,
You're
yes.
so good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Malden is spelled wrong.
Then we should change that. That's important.
Oh, made in Mass. Yes. Good catch.
On the first page, down on number 4, just bring the sentence over.
Yep, close that space and gap.
And the formatting,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, okay, we'll do that. Okay.
And then if you all want to turn to the document that Dr. Cabral said is not something that you all have to adopt as a policy, but it drives from the policy.
Yep.
The bullying prevention and intervention policy and plan. So we had our attorney look at this and we scratched month and just we're going to list year. So
Okay.
revised 2024. And then if you go to the second page, under definitions,
Shouldn't we do May 2024?
no, we're not gonna put the month, we're just gonna put a year. Well, that's the recommendation. Okay, sorry. I didn't know if there were more questions. So under definitions on the second page, under aggressor, add, after retaliation, add towards a student. Period.
Where?
Second page under aggressor. And then,
Toward the students.
our attorneys have recommended to strike bystander, the bystander definition and label. Yep.
Why wouldn't it be towards a student, teacher, or staff?
We can add that, but this is specifically for, this goes on the website for parents. This isn't in like a faculty or a staff handbook. This document is for parents. It's on the website posted. But again, this isn't the policy. The policy itself does state that adults can be bullied. Does that make sense? It's a, and we can, if you all want to bring that back, I can bring that back to the committees and request a further explanation. I just don't have.
So, something that I recall hearing in passing that you may, if you want to, because again, this is, well, this, we have to do a second reading on this anyway. So, one of the things that I understand, and that, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that the bullying law in terms of schools applies to students, that there is, although our policies address staff, bullying from a legal standpoint pertains specifically to students in terms of MGL. Yeah. But I think we can certainly ask counsel for, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to ask counsel for
Yeah.
clarification on that, because in that case, I think we need to also then, I would recommend going back to the school committee policies to separate them, because in our school committee policy, we have harassment, bullying, and sexual harassment all on the same policy, and those are applicable to, some of those are applicable to adults.
Right.
So in order to be clear, I think my recommendation would be, and we can ask counsel
Yeah.
to separate those.
Okay, yeah, I think if you could ask for her feedback, that'd be helpful for us.
Just so you're aware, when this plan was formatted, it was reformatted to replicate the state's example.
Okay.
And so a lot of the definitions were pulled, and that was a few years ago. So it's about updating the wording, and I just went to check if, I'm sure Carol's already checked if DESI updated the definitions as well. But of course, the system is down right now.
Yeah, and our council did tell us that this is very much in line with the
Yep.
current DESI model, so yes.
Okay. Okay.
So we can go to page 3, under leadership, and then under A, the Easton Public Schools Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan was developed in consultation with, comma, but not limited to, colon, and then the rest, teachers, staff, school staff.
Okay.
And just for clarity's sake, I think that this is something that we may want to revisit next year and get a committee, because as Chrissy Pruitt said, we it's been a bit since we've convened a team. While this does reflect the template that Desi has, that doesn't mean that it fits Easton and all we want in Easton. Okay. Going to page 4.
I'm going to pause, just a quick tech check. I just want to make sure the ECAT broadcast is still, because ours in the room, I can see that Kelly Percio has joined, and I just want to make sure that the ECAT broadcast is still showing primarily the room, and that the Zoom presentation that we're seeing does not reflect what's being broadcast on ECAT. Okay.
It's green. Can you hear me now?
Maybe swap out with the other. Okay.
That's okay, thanks.
All right, sorry, continue.
So the next page, just formatting purposes, strike D and make it C. So C dot priority statement. Page
So there's
4.
What about planning and oversight as C?
Oh, that's why it didn't reflect. Council recommended to leave planning and oversight under B.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'm gonna get clarity on that, because I'm not sure if that's a clerical error on their end.
Okay.
And then my pages aren't numbered, but Chrissy, where does B start?
So now priority statement is C.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, so that is,
What page number is
it is on page 8.
that? So if you flip to page 8, where, number 2, where it's titled Reporting by Students, Parents, or Guardians or Others.
It's under policy 5. Okay. Or Roman numeral 5.
So at the end of that paragraph, where it says anonymous report, period,
Which paragraph?
the first paragraph under number 2, reporting by students, parents, or guardians.
Thank you.
After paragraph 1, we have a recommendation to write students, comma, parents or guardians, comma, and others may request assistance from from a staff member to complete a written report, period. Students will be provided practical, comma, safe, comma, private, comma, and age-appropriate ways to report and discuss an incident of bullying with a staff member, comma, or with the principal or designee, comma, or superintendent or designee when the principal or assistant principal is the alleged aggressor, period. I understand that I just read that very fast. That was for the record. You all will be supplied this.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure it's on record.
Okay.
And then we're going to strike the second paragraph where it starts reports of bullying.
So in our version, there's only one paragraph. Unless I'm looking at the wrong spot. So it might just be a formatting.
Yeah, so after anonymous report, period, you're going to strike everything after that and add what I just read in onto the record.
Okay.
Strike the entire rest of that paragraph.
Yeah, starting
Yeah.
from
Got it.
reports of bullying can be made through, and
Okay,
then,
sorry, I missed that.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Then we're going to go to the next page. And where it is underlined in bold, that starts, on your copy, it starts clear procedures for restoring. Before that, you're gonna add throughout the process, comma, the district will work to. Then you're gonna strike clear procedures for restoring A. So the sentence will read, throughout the process, comma, the district will work to restore a sense of safety for a target or aggressor, and assesses. You're going to strike in need for protection and add needs for additional support / safety measures, period. This shall include, comma, but is not limited to, colon. Again, this was for the record, you all will get copies.
Okay.
Is the next one. And then you're going to flip to page 12, number 3, that is titled Promoting Safety for the Target and Others. That one, you're basically going to strike everything your copy has under there. And again, for the record, I'm just going to read this. The principal or designee will consider what adjustments, comma, if any, comma, are needed in the school environment to enhance the target's sense of safety and that of others as well. Period. One strategy that the principal or designee may use is to increase adult supervision at transition times and in locations where bullying is known to have occurred or is likely to occur, period. Next paragraph will read, within a reasonable period of time following the determination and the ordering of remedial and/or disciplinary action, comma, the principal or designee will contact the target to determine whether there has been a reoccurrence of the prohibited conduct and whether additional supportive measures are needed, period. If so, comma, the principal or designee will work with appropriate school staff to implement them immediately, period. And that is it. I think that is it. Yeah, that's it for our recommendations. And then, did you guys get a copy of the form itself?
Yeah.
Again, that's not for your vote, it's just for your viewing. And we did have a recommendation of an edit on page 2. At the bottom, the last sentence, the last line will say, must be arranged for the allegations to be reviewed in accordance with the relevant policy and procedure, period. Page 5. In the disclaimer, again, we'll say the same thing. And, that was it.
Thank you.
So we will make sure to get you those that are better to read for you all. And any questions?
Guys have any?
I don't.
So as our policy
We didn't get to
committee
J.
member.
We didn't get to J.
Okay, all right, so yeah, so do you think it's, any of the edits are things that the policy subcommittee would
No, I
like
think
to
we
work
can-
on separately, or we're
No, we
fine
can
just
do
bringing
that,
it
yeah.
here?
Yep,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, thank you, just wanted to make sure.
And if you all are okay with it, I'm also going to change the pronouns to they wherever I see them, if that, before we send them for the second reading with all the other edits.
Okay.
I think that's great. And this is fortunately the first time I've seen the form. It's very robust, and it gives me a tremendous appreciation for the amount of work that goes on when investigating a really unfortunate situation like this. So it's just, there's an awful lot, and I think it's laid out, it seems incredibly thorough and hopefully keeps our students safe.
And if you see those disclaimers that we added those edits to, a bullying investigation can lead to a civil rights investigation, can lead to a Title IX investigation. So
Yep, all right.
And just to remind the public that these forms are online and accessible.
Yep. Yeah, really good information.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, thank you. Okay, let's see, so next up, we have votes to approve minutes. So we've got our meeting from May 9th, our workshop from May 6th, and executive sessions from May 6th and May 9th. So let's start with the regular meeting minutes from Thursday, May 9th. Let's see, so I think communicated to, prior to the meeting, there was a small edit that was made and is reflected in our printed copies versus the ones that we had online. Does anybody have any, and just a quick actually tech check. Kelly, you can hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great, and we can hear you, thank you. Okay, all right, so any questions, comments, edits on the regular meeting minutes from May 9th?
I do.
Okay.
Call meeting to, I mean, this is so minor, but call meeting to order, that paragraph.
Yep,
What is it, when it says listen to tape fully?
that was the correction that was made in the printed copy. So is
Oh.
that a copy you'd printed?
Got
Yes,
it.
yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, that makes
Yep.
sense. Sorry, you said that,
Yep, no worries.
and I was not listening, apparently.
Okay,
Sorry.
no worries. Okay, any other?
So there's.
All right, we good?
Yes.
Okay. All right, would somebody like to make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes from May 9th, 2024?
So move DeLuca.
And can I get a second?
Second Loomis.
And roll call vote?
No. Aye.
Oh, 'cause Kelly's
Kelly's,
on.
here
Yes,
now.
yep.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes?
I was hoping we didn't have to do
Yes.
that.
Or serious, sorry, Nancy.
It's okay. It's okay, we're glad you're here, Kelly.
Okay, let's see, so then, the workshop meeting minutes from May 6th, 2024. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or edits on these? So this is the open session that we call the meeting to order and go into executive session.
Oh, this is May,
May 6th,
May 6th.
yes.
I do not recommend we release this.
So there's two versions. So that's the executive session, but there's the workshop itself where we open the meeting and go into executive session. Yes.
Got it.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions, comments, or edits on these? Anything that might need revision? I think it's pretty straightforward. Okay. All righty, then can I get a motion to?
Yes.
Oh, yes, go
Kelly's
ahead.
last name is spelled wrong.
Oh, okay.
In the last line.
Oh, yes, you're correct, yes.
And I didn't even catch that, thank you.
Okay. All right, then, can I get a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the workshop from Monday, May 6th with the noted edit?
Second. Loomis.
Can you make the
So
motion?
moved.
Okay,
Loomis.
and can I get a second?
Perseo, second.
All right, roll call vote?
DeLuca's going to abstain because I wasn't there.
Oh, perfect, okay.
So I'm not going to vote.
Okay, Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
Perseo, yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, so next up are the executive session workshop meeting minutes from Monday, May 6th. I do have some questions, edits that I'd like to discuss at a future executive session. Okay, so can you remind me, Nancy, do we vote on that?
Do we vote
To
to, just all you,
hold
right? you-
Table? All right.
And we vote on that, yes.
Okay, okay, great. So, all right, so I'll make a motion then to review the executive session minutes from May 6th in a future executive session. Can I get a second?
Second, DeLuca.
And roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes?
Percio, yes.
Okay, great. And then finally, executive session minutes from May 9th. Before we vote on whether or not to approve and release or approve and not release at this time, does anybody have any questions, comments, or edits that they would like to discuss in a future executive session? Not hearing any? No. Okay. So I would like to make a motion to approve but not release the exec session minutes from May 9th at this time. Can I get a second?
DeLuca, second.
And roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes?
Percio, yes.
Great. All right. All right, next up, we've got the vote to approve the school improvement plans for Blanche Ames and Richardson Olmsted. So shall we go to the audience? Do you want to? There we go, losing my glasses, and you'll be able to present. Excellent. All right.
So while you're moving, I'll just tell the large viewing audience that we, every year, are required to present, and the school committee to approve the school improvement plans for each individual school. Tonight, we have the presentation of two of them. Mr. Cedarbaum is going to present Blanche Ames Elementary School first, and then Mr. Getchell will present the school improvement plan from Richardson Olmsted. The process is done through the school council, and they will recognize those members, as well as answer any questions you may have after the presentation. Mr. Cedarbaum?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. We are very excited to present our school improvement plan for the 24-25 school year. As you know, us K-2 people love a good theme. So we are also fully embracing the tricentennial coming up. And so our theme for next school year is our community, our school, hundreds of possibilities. We think there's a lot we can do, especially at the pre-K-2 level, around the number 300, around the tricentennial. So we're really looking forward to bringing that into the school and doing as much as we can with it around all of our goals. So again, I'd like to recognize our school council members, both a mix of parents and school educators, myself, Betsy Clifford, Sam Hill, Jamie Isherwood, Sumi Loomis, Jordan Manchester, Sarah McLaughlin, Julie Paul, Lisa Reska, and Scott Turasek. And we've all contributed to the creation of our plan. So in this presentation is a combination of both a follow-up from our current plan goals and kind of how they roll into the goals that we're proposing for next year. So our first goal that we're currently working on from last year, as you know, was all about the transition to Blanche Ames, bringing together our three smaller K-2 schools. And our first goal was really all around the transition, the sense of we all belong, and how to build our new learning community from three very distinct, different learning communities across the three schools. And so with that, the action steps in our first goal for this year were to, no, go back, it's okay. Were to create a faculty senate at our building, which we did. So we have stakeholders from all grade levels and groups within the building. We meet monthly, and it's actually one of my most favorite times of the month, just because it gives us a great collective brain to problem solve, come up with solutions, suggestions, and ways to move our school community forward together. And everybody has a voice at the table, which is important. The other thing that we were looking to do in our plan was talk about professional development opportunities and social gatherings and events to really bring us all together to help unite us as a team. As you know, our professional development is limited throughout the district, so as we have other priorities in that area, we took the focus and put it more towards the social events and ways to bring our staff together more in that get to know you kind of way. Because again, we had people coming from 3 different places that might have never seen, let alone worked with as a colleague. So up here in pictures, you can see some of the things that we've done this year. On the top left there, we threw block parties. It was a way for staff to work collaboratively with the colleagues in their own area to basically throw a party for the rest of the building to attend. And so once a month throughout the year, different areas and wings of the building hosted these gatherings to bring the community together. They were all themed, so this one was around St. Patrick's Day, so this was the E wing of the building, so they had a lucky party. And so we all wore our green, we celebrated St. Patrick's Day, but we celebrated these throughout the year as a way to bring us all together and make those connections that we didn't quite have yet. In the middle there, we had a spirited rock, paper, scissors tournament. Again, the driving force was to get to meet people you might not necessarily have encountered or worked with before. And so you went up and you challenged them with a rock, paper, scissors tournament, and if you won, you got their beaded necklace, and if they won, they got yours, and whoever had the most beads at the end of the day was the winner. But again, it was a great way to bring people together and celebrate our new collective staff.
And the kids got really into it.
And the kids got really into it, especially when it happened in those big areas like the lunchroom, the gym, the cafeteria. So it was great. The next piece was around involving the larger community. So again, we worked closely with RMK this year. We had them in for their DCLL program and their LILS program. Our school council put out a needs survey to solicit feedback from all of our families around what was working, what wasn't working, and how we could further improve Blanche Ames going into our full year. And our packs came together. Again, 3 separate packs from 3 different buildings, all coming into one to really put together a comprehensive year full of events and activities for our families. And then the last piece of the goal was to, as it's worded, work with local photographers to try and bring pictures and photographs of our students to get into the building to represent our student body so that they're seeing themselves in the new building. While that didn't happen, what we were able to do was utilize the television monitors throughout the buildings. And so we had some projects throughout the year where I've asked families and staff to submit pictures of students reading, for example. So those were put up on a slideshow. This is Mrs. Pruitt when she was in for Read Across America. But those pictures went on a loop so students could see themselves and see themselves reflected in our everyday occurrence. I will say that over the course of this year, it was great to finally get artwork up on the walls. So we're looking forward to continuing to brighten the new building. So moving forward to this year, now that we have a nice steady stream of our community built, we're looking to further that and get more involvement from our families. And so this year, our goal is all around strengthening our communication to parents and to increase their engagement and involvement with whole school activities. So we're really looking to get more families in the door to feel part of the building, part of the community, both for academic and curriculum events like Get Acquainted Nights, parent-teacher conferences, but also those other activities like STEAM Night or the art show, just to draw them in and make them feel as though they're part of our community and can take part in activities. The other thing we're looking to do is we've heard a lot through the needs survey around volunteerism and the need and the want for our families to participate during the school day. So I'm working on encouraging more of those parent and family involvement activities during the school day, whether it's through student work exhibitions or whether it's through classroom volunteers, but trying to increase the amount of support that we're getting into the building throughout the year. So the way that we're going to do that is to continue with our consistent weekly communication. So on the bottom there, you can see a picture of the Blanche Ames Bulletin. So we're using SMORE currently, and that platform may be changing, but the goal remains the same, to keep families consistently updated weekly with what's going on in the school and the school community. Right now, we're averaging at Bland James a little over 1,000 to 1,100 hits a week. So it's definitely being read and being revisited by families. So it is a good source of information, and it is being utilized. So I want to continue to maintain that. What I do want to continue working on with the help of Director Weintraub is providing more translations for our families where English may not be their native language, just again to draw in that involvement and engagement and helping to bridge that gap for them. Again, increasing the number of whole school events and getting teachers to offer more opportunities to celebrate those volunteer efforts in the classroom. And on the bottom there, tying in the tricentennial, we have a Get Acquainted night, and again, the bulletin that we're hoping to continue. Thank you, Mrs. Pruitt. For our current goal this year, as we all came together, we really focused on the social emotional needs of our students, and the focus was really around driving our PBIS model. So prior to moving into Bland James, we really worked on developing what we wanted Bland James to look like, feel like, and be like for students. And so we came up with our CUB code, which is our driving force. We are using CUB Cash to reinforce that expected behavior, along with the use of Second Step as our Tier 1 social emotional curriculum. And we're also using the DESA Mini still to universally screen our students' social emotional well-being 3 times a year. On top of that, we recognize students weekly for having those expected behaviors and pass out certificates for it. So we're going to take all of that, and as we move forward to this year, we're looking at the PBIS structures that we have in place. We've refined and looked at them. We have found a little bit of ineffectiveness because we started at the Tier 1 level, Phase 1, and now we're looking to move to Tier 1, Phase 2, which is more of that whole school recognition versus the individual. So we are looking to continue with our PBIS model, the use of Second Step and the DESA Mini, and looking to decrease some of our behavioral incidents that are occurring in the building, which we're noticing are taking place mostly in unstructured settings. So we're really going to drive that as our focus this year. So if you want to go to the next one, Mrs. Pruitt. We're noticing that a lot of behaviors that are being documented are happening in the lunchroom, on the playground, on the school buses, and during dismissal, when there's a lot of people in one area and it's a lot more unstructured. So we will continue using Second Step as our Tier 1 curriculum, using the DESA Mini as our screening tool. We at the pre-K to 2 level just began inputting incidents and behaviors and conduct into X2 this year. So our staff that was new to our staff. They were trained, we began using it. So we want to further review that training again and revisit to make sure that we're all properly inputting and tracking that student behavior through X2. The other thing that we really want to get back to that we did at our smaller schools were community meetings. As you know, with the increase in curricular goals and objectives, time is always a commodity that you don't want to steal, but we're feeling that obviously the social emotional piece is also a huge priority. So Ms. Finn and I have really looked at how can we still work in those community meetings where we can talk about expected behaviors and what we want from the students, how we should be acting in our building. And so we're going to try doing it during lunch blocks. So at the end of every month, as you know, we have 2 cafeterias in Bland James. As of right now, our enrollment does not exceed the capacity of our big cafeteria for next year. So we will have that flexible space of cafeteria 2. And our goal is at the end of every month that we will pull 2 to 3 classes in a day over the course of that week, so that by the end of the week, every student will have had their community meeting time with Ms. Finn and I to go over the month's expectations, the expected behaviors, and really drill in that practice that I feel like we've been missing over the course of this year that has in the past shown to positively impact better behavior. We will also, again, as I said, move from Phase 1 of the first tier of PBIS to Phase 2. So we're going to take the CUB Cash portion out of it, and rather we're going to look at highlighting, discussing, and focusing on a positive character trait each month that will be discussed during those community meetings. It'll be shown how you can be honest, how it ties into the Cub Code. And then we also want to continue using our shout outs, and those will also be displayed on the televisions throughout the building, again, to get that buy-in from students, to have them recognized, and really working on the expected behaviors that we're looking for. And then lastly, our third goal this year is all around student growth and achievement. Last year's goal was strictly around the implementation of the curriculum. As you know, we brought in Wit and Wisdom last year, and our focus was learn the program, implement the program, and bring that new curriculum to our K-2 teachers. This year, I'm excited to say that we've seen great progress with our first year of implementation. Today at Blanche Ames, we spent the day in data meetings reviewing all of our spring CBM data, but also the growth that our students have made over the course of this year. And it's remarkable. It was great data. We had great meetings. So our goal for next year, now that we've seen what the data looks like in this first year, is we are looking for 80% of our students that are scoring in the 3 lowest tiers on our CBM. So the low, the below, and the well below ranges in their ELA scores, that they will make typical or better growth by the end of the year. And so if you go to the next slide, Mrs. Pruitt, after year 1 of Wit and Wisdom, this is the growth that we're already seeing across the 3 grade levels, which is outstanding. So yes, typical or better. So this is students making typical, ambitious, or exceeding growth in those domains. So I took the any student that were in those 3 lowest tiers who made typical growth, ambitious growth, or exceeding growth across all of the different subtests for the CBMs. And these are the percentages of students in the grade levels and in the different domains that had at least typical or better growth this year. And these are numbers that we have not seen in a very, very long time. So, go ahead. I will, yes, sorry. I just pulled this from our data slide. So we are currently using the Dibbles 8 assessment. And within that, there are many different subtests. So LNF is letter naming fluency. PSF is phoneme segmentation fluency. We have CLS, correct letter sounds, and WWR, whole words read. And then as you go down to grade 1 and 2, you'll see ORF, which is oral reading fluency. So again, reading is that progression of skills. So we start with letter naming in kindergarten. Once they can name and identify their letters and their sounds, we move on to phoneme segmentation, which is breaking those words apart into their individual sounds. Then the correct letter sounds, naming them, and finally being able to get to that word reading level and sentence reading level. So in kindergarten, 66% of students made typical or better growth in letter naming over the course of the year. 65% in phoneme segmentation, 65% in correct letter sounds, and 83% in whole words read.
Excuse me, of the students
In those
the lowest
3
tier.
lowest tiers, correct.
Now, I know from looking at this data what an incredible difference this is. I would love to see a slide in the future for
Yep.
the school committee that does a comparison for them, because they would not have the
Correct.
benchmark to measure this against.
Correct. And the hard part is, because we've all come into Blanche Ames, all of the data is fragmented right now.
That's okay, even a
So,
sample to
yep.
help them understand the
So
difference.
I will provide that
'Cause
for
is a
you
huge
so that you can see what the numbers
difference.
look like, and that's what our teachers ask for, that historical data. But right now, because we were all in our 3 separate silos, the data is in 3 separate silos and isn't aggregated together yet. Next year, we will have historical data, but I can pull the previous years from the different schools to show that. When you get to grade 1, again, 63%, 76%, 81%, 84%. It's crazy. And again, this is all thanks to the hard work of our teachers delivering that rigorous and robust Tier 1 curriculum that we have brought in, as well as in conjunction at Blanche Ames with our literacy team. So our reading specialists and our interventionists, not only did we bring in a new curriculum this year, but we implemented a brand new service delivery of intervention. Our reading specialists have written and designed targeted, skill-specific lessons that our interventionists and them have been delivering to our students. And the amount of students that have begun an intervention, then exited from an intervention or shifted an intervention has been phenomenal. And the data shows it. So I'm excited to move forward and continue our work with Wit and Wisdom and Geo. So if you go to the next slide, Mrs. Pruitt. That's what we did today, correct. Yep.
That's really a good opportunity for them to look back and reflect and
Correct.
see the.
Today was a
and be
great
proud of
day to
themselves
celebrate and be proud of all the hard work we
right?
did. Absolutely.
And what was the theme?
Your data is sparkling.
Data sparkling. So,
So-
they had sparkling,
I love that.
So
Yeah, it was great.
Sparkling water, and it was great.
So we will continue using Wit and Wisdom, Foundation, Integrity, and Geodes, which together make that nice ELA complement for us. Our CBMs will continue to be administered 3 times a year, and then interventions will be provided and progress monitored regularly. Again, that's the piece that helps us to shift and exit students through their growth and their gains, and then based on individual student need is where they will fall into those interventions.
What's a CBM?
Curriculum-based measure.
Can I just add something? I know
Sure.
I'm not co-presenting with you,
Add away.
but I just want to point out that the continued implementation of the Wit and Wisdom of the programs, that first bullet, it's so important to include that in there because we shifted completely our philosophy of teaching reading, and there was a lot of doubt at first. I mean, of course, that's natural, and the risk that the teachers took to take a chance on the program and from the professional development was immense. And I think it's really important that's a part of the action plan because they're seeing the benefits now, right? At the very beginning, they're like, this isn't what we're used to doing, but they're really seeing the benefit. And Sam actually shared with me a conversation he had with a teacher that said, oh, I get it now, right?
Yeah.
And
It took until
they're seeing
April,
that.
but
Yeah.
again, in the first year of implementation, you would typically expect an implementation dip, which we haven't seen. Again, thanks to the robust teaching and the interventions, we're seeing data go up rather than down, which you usually see in a first year. But yeah, in a first year, it takes a long time to see the progress. And especially with a knowledge-based curriculum like Wit and Wisdom, our grades, K to 2, are just sowing those initial seeds because the program is cyclical and it cycles through. So where our teachers are exposing students to a lot and modeling a lot, they don't always see the end product that RO will see or the middle school or our OA graduates will see. So it's hard to put your faith and trust in a system that you don't see the end result of necessarily because you're doing all of the exposure and sowing of the seed that they're taking those skills as they move on through the progression of years. So, any questions?
I just want to thank you for all you and your staff do.
Thank you.
You had mentioned that the incidents are occurring during this time.
Yep.
Is that an increase from past years?
So it's hard because we just started, while we had some type of baseline data, we're really using this year as our baseline, so we're collecting that data now. I will say that those are always the trickiest times for students. Whether or not I can say there's been an increase or not, I don't know for sure, but I think collecting that baseline data this year and then implementing new proactive measures next year will help us to know if it's working. But those are definitely tricky times for everybody, always, especially at pre-K to 2.
Yeah, just a reminder that Mr. Cedarbaum's age level is where they're just starting to learn school, go to school, understand the expectations of school. So a bus is going to be an exciting thing for a child. Recess, especially at the new playground. So it's just us instructing the students on what that looks like.
There's a lot of teachable moments at pre-K to 2.
Kelly, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not, although I will say some of the comments are very hard to hear.
Okay.
your comments.
Yeah, does everybody have their, yeah, I think I had my mic off temporarily too. Okay, so I appreciate the amount of data and how measurable the plan is. So I love that. I love seeing stuff that you can actually, go back and measure and say, okay, are we aligned with our goal, or, are we going to fall short or exceed or whatever. So I know that when I write goals, it's really challenging, right, to choose a metric and figure out, how to put it all together. So kudos to you and to the team. I know that it's a lot of work, and there are a lot of things to focus on, and it can be really challenging to decide, okay, what's rising to the top. So I'm super impressed with the plan. It's a nice progression forward from the foundation that you laid last year. It's really well done. I did have a question, and I think this is for the two of you, about, I had sent along last week a blurb or question about EL specifically that's noted in the improvement plans. Yeah, so is that something that we'll need to maybe follow up on and maybe add something to the plans that we're seeing?
We do have the ML action step. There
Okay.
are action steps that include our multilingual learners.
Okay.
It's
There's a specific goal to,
address ML
Yes.
specifically, we will have to
yes, add that.
adjust to that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I think we have time. So yeah, but that'll just be a
Yes.
follow-up for probably, I would imagine, all the plans. Again, given that I came in with that like a week ago. So.
Yeah.
So.
Because they do have to go before their school councils.
Yep.
And have them approved by the school council. So
Okay.
yes.
Okay. All right. So just so the committee is aware, I was reading through something detailed in that MGL book, which I love, and it did mention that when you reach a certain threshold of English learner enrollment, that it does affect the school improvement plan requirements, and that's new to us where we have had an increase. So that threshold was not something that was typically met in the past. So, but we'll get caught up on that. Okay. All right. All right. Great. Thank you so much. Oh, do we need to, are we voting? Yes. Do we want, we can vote when we get back up.
For both of them.
Yeah, you good with that? Okay, okay. All righty. So next up is the school improvement plan for Richardson Olmsted.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Chris Sketchel. I am the principal of Richardson Olmsted School, and I'll walk you through what we've been doing at RO and where we're going next year. So I appreciate going second because there's so much congruency between what's happening at BA and what's happening at RO, both academically, social, emotionally. It's just from a student lens, from a student perspective, their transition from K through 5 is going to really start to grow more consistent as we move forward, which is really exciting. So I'd like to thank our school council members for meeting monthly with me and thinking deeply about our goals from this past year and implementing them and thinking about next year. So Amy Cormier, Rita Pastore, and Krista Maffeo were our grades 3, 4, and 5 teachers. Myself, Sarah Leach, Joanna Silverman, and Katie Reardon Abramowski are our parent representatives who also represent grades 3, 4, and 5. So we had a nice balance between all the three grade levels at our school. All right, click it again. Keep going. So we've got a big goal at our school actually, you know what, Chrissy? I'm going to skip around a little bit. Can you go to the next slide for a second? So here's some MCAS data. I know it's one data point. I'm going to share with you a lot of data tonight and from a lot of various different assessments. But MCAS is the one assessment that's common through all the public school districts in Massachusetts. So starting with this, prior to the pandemic, these are the percentages of our kids in ELA not meeting standards. They were either partially meeting or not meeting, okay? So prior to the pandemic, you can see in grades 3, 4, and 5, we were between 32 and 37% of our kids at all 3 grades were either partially meeting or not meeting. Then the pandemic hit, and then you can see from 2021, 22 to 2023, we're not yet where we were prior to the pandemic in terms of meeting standards in reading. So we just took, obviously, the spring 2024 MCAS, so we'll have those results late summer, early fall. I'll report back to you. I'm very excited to see them because I think we have a lot of data that will suggest that we're going to be very close, if not surpassing that number. But our goal, our big goal as a school right now that is in our school improvement plan is to get to a place where less than 30% of our kids at each grade level are partially meeting or not meeting standards. I want to get our kids, I want to be at a place where 70% or greater of them are meeting or exceeding standards in reading. We know how important reading is to the future success in grades 6 through 12. It's academically, it's probably the most important piece. Kids that are reading at grade level by the end of grade 3 are significantly more likely to meet with success in secondary level and feel better about themselves as learners. So this is an incredibly important goal for us because we know the effects it will have on these kids as they move past us. Sam talked about sowing seeds. We sow seeds every day. It's a great analogy. We're all working toward that graduate in OA. We're all working together as a district to get these kids where they need to be when they leave us at the end of when they graduate. So how are we going to get there? What are we doing at RO to get to this goal? Well, first, we talked, like Sam talked about professional development in the science of reading. Christy alluded to that earlier. It's a significant shift in the way we've been teaching reading. Many districts that you might read in the paper are just getting to this point where they're just figuring out, oh, you know, maybe some of our practices in literacy haven't been as effective as they should. The research is clear about the emphasis on phonics, background knowledge, and student reading. We've made this shift thanks to our district, our leadership team, I think before many districts made the shift. And so now we're in a full year of implementation of a robust and rigorous and I think a fantastic literacy program called Wit and Wisdom that we're using K through 7. We have Tier 1 phonics with foundations pre-K through 3. And so we've started these practices. For this year, for the first time at RO, because of the demands of the Wit and Wisdom program, it is 90 minutes a day for all students, plus an additional 30 minutes of phonics for grade 3. Likewise, in math should be 60 to 90 minutes a day for all students. So that kind of leads us into a second tier goal and definitely a goal for our district moving forward over the next 5 years in developing a multiple tiered systems of support model. So we guarantee that all of our kids, no matter where they're at, are receiving what we call a Tier 1 core instructional block in reading every day and a 60 to 90 minute block of math every day. So if you flip to the next slide, Christy, the next one after this, this year, this is an example of a third grade daily schedule at our school that you can go through from the moment they walk in at 8:25 to when they leave at 2:56. All the time is accounted for, and this is what is expected in every third grade classroom in terms of time on learning and Tier 1 instruction that we did mandate this year. And you can see, like in this example, from 9:10 to 10:40 every morning is literacy in third grade, and it's a protected instructional block, no pullouts, Tier 1 for all students. Sorry, not used to wearing these. This is critical, and it's a critical shift because prior to this shift, students that were below grade level or struggling or showing a gap were often pulled to give them some intervention in reading, and they were often pulled during reading time. So you're taking students who are struggling in an area and you're taking them out of the instruction that all the other kids are getting to give them something different, even though it's in reading. But what we know is that if you're struggling in anything, you don't need necessarily a substitution. You need more. You need more practice. So it's really an equity issue more than anything else, I think. It's also an achievement issue for this multiple tiered systems of support model so that we ensure that all kids, regardless of where they're at as readers or mathematicians, are getting access to grade level standards every day, just like all the other kids are. And then during another time, in addition, they're getting a very targeted intervention every day from a trained professional, as Sam was talking about in his slide. So that is what I need time is. That's a win time, what I need. And that is the time where kids get what they need, no matter who they are or where they're at. It's an individual time. It's not a whole group instruction time, but it allows us to give that intervention that you will see in a moment with a lot of data that we know for sure is significantly important and impactful to closing reading gaps. Significant. And I'll show you data that shows what we do. So this is a big shift. You can see where things fit in. Everyday foundations in third grade, this is phonics. Same time for math, specials, and a science and social studies in the last period of the day. So the next slide is an example of a grade 4 schedule. Now we don't just throw this together because we have interventionists, we have special education teachers, we have paraprofessionals. Systems of support are systems, and the systems are really how the grown-ups and how the professionals help kids as coordinated as possible. So it is deliberate that our win time, for example, is different at every grade level, so interventionists can shift grades throughout the day and we're not overlapping. Likewise, for our special education team who provides specialized services, it makes it easier for them to provide those services at different grades if we're not teaching literacy at the same time for all grades every day. So there's a lot of work that goes into this, but it has made a significant difference in the day-to-day at RO. Okay, so let's get to some data. So this is data from January where we do a mid-year check-in on students we do a mid-year check-in on all students, but this particular first data point are the students that qualified for reading intervention in the fall. And this is from grade 4. So 33 out of the 42 students that qualified for reading intervention in that WIN block met the growth percentage expectation, a standard growth percentage, SGP, of 40%. 40 to 60% is the growth we're looking for students to make the progress we want them to. Growth over 60% means that they're closing the gap. The median growth for those kids was 65. The average growth was ambitious. So even in the middle point of the year, we're noticing that our interventions for most of the kids are closing the gap. And those students that weren't closing the gap, we know we need to shift the intervention or perhaps intensify the intervention or perhaps refer a student for special education testing. We know we have to do something different because they're not making ambitious growth. So in 5th grade, the 31 students that qualified for reading intervention met or exceeded the growth percentage of 40%. The median growth for the 5th grade intervention students was 70. The average growth was ambitious. So that was solid evidence midway through the year for us. And we, this year, were fortunate enough to pilot a phonics intervention built for 4th and 5th graders, which is not very common. And it was called Just Words from Wilson. And we are now, like this week, getting the data in that measures those students' growth in 4th and 5th grade from September to now. So click the next slide. This is breaking news. And this is not even in your, your folders that I handed you a week ago. This is like fresh breaking news from this week. I want to take a shout out to Karen Daly, who worked really hard to get this data to me today. She's our reading specialist, and she's really spearheaded so much of this. She deserves a tremendous amount of credit for what we're sharing, as do our teachers. This is starting 3rd grade. The winter data showed, I'll just read this really quick. In September, Sam talked about the ORF, oral reading fluency test. We have that too in 3rd grade. We gave that oral reading fluency test to 3rd graders in September, which is how accurate they read fluently. It's pretty simple. 13% of the students selected for phonics intervention, only 13% of them read with 96% or above accuracy on the DIBELS 8 oral reading fluency assessment. You might have recognized that's the same assessment they used K-2. So these assessments are another example of how we're being consistent K through 5. So even the kids are seeing the same types of assessments as they go through. Also, only 13% of those kids that got selected for phonics intervention could read with 96% above accuracy in 3rd grade. In January, after 4 months of reading intervention with Foundations Level 2, 30 minutes a day during wind time, 70% of those students read with 96% or above.
That's awesome.
In 4 months of just everyday consistent intervention with a really fantastic reading intervention team and really fantastic
Outside of the regular
outside
block
of
for
the
literacy.
block, which was also really improved. So that was a very encouraging data point midway through. Next slide. Now we're getting to the end of the year data. We also use this assessment called STAR. It's not a diagnostic assessment. It's a screener. It's better suited, I think, for kids in grades 3 through 5. It only takes about 20 minutes to assess. It's not as individualized as the curriculum-based measures that they do in K through 2, which are more appropriate one-on-one. So there's a reason for the shift in this particular assessment. But these are our median growth scores. So the average growth of all 3rd graders from the STAR was 57%. So to have your average be almost ambitious growth is again, like Sam said, these are numbers we haven't seen. The intervention students, so the kids that are at risk, their growth was higher than the regular 3rd graders, which is what we want. If you're struggling in reading, we want to see your growth higher than your peers, because that's how you close the gap. In 4th grade, the median growth was 58, again, way on the higher side of solid growth. Again, the intervention students' growth was 63% average. 5th grade, the average growth was 52. The intervention students, 63. So in each grade level, you can see that the students that are at risk, their growth is exceeding the other kids. That means they're closing the gap. So this is very encouraging data for us. Again, we have our data meetings next week. We will share this with each grade level. We will analyze it. We'll make adjustments for next year's instruction. Okay. So that was goal 1. What time are the Celtics on? 8 o'clock? All right. I'll keep going. So our second goal, again, like Blanche Ames, we balance the academic with social emotional. We know that if kids aren't feeling safe at school and feeling confident, they're not ready to learn at their highest level. This is incredibly important for our district, for BA, for RO, for our entire district. So similar to what Sam had said, we are really looking at tier 1 level. So tier 1 is what all kids get every day. Social emotional learning. And so with the ultimate goal of making kids feel more confident and safe at our school, which would definitely help them achieve at higher levels and decrease challenges and discipline rates. So skip to the next slide, Chrissy. Keep going, fly through these. So action steps for tier 1 level, social emotional learning at RO, include, we have a wonderful clinical team at our school right now of 2 school adjustment counselors and 1 school psychologist, who with our 2 nurses, our health teacher, our PE department, our administration, form a really solid social emotional team. We are very fortunate at RO to be adding a school adjustment counselor next year. We're thrilled about this. Our clinical team is growing. We're going to be able to assign a school adjustment counselor to each grade level, similar to what they do at middle school, that follows a grade level through their time and really builds solid relationships with kids and families. So we're very fortunate to be able to add that clinician to our school and help us grow. They do an SEL newsletter that goes out to our staff that provides our entire staff with really easy strategies to help kids with mental health. We've been sharing that newsletter with families as well. So that just information that helps everybody grow. Like Sam said, we used Second Step as our tier 1 program at every classroom. The recommendation, the expectation I should say, was 30 minutes of Second Step a week, which was done. We created a new RO constitution. So Sam talked about a CUB code, like it's the common language of the school. So the kids hear common expectations all the time from all the teachers, specialists, everybody. We have the constitution. It's very similar. It's just a little bit more developmentally appropriate for our age kids. So that was developed, common expectations across, shared with families. We are developing our outdoor learning spaces. So we made significant progress on the Olmsted side of our school playground this year. We're expecting our organic corkine surface, that's non-PFAS, to be installed soon under all of our structures. So that is expected to happen very soon. That's weather dependent, that material. So we've been having to wait until the temperature needs to be above 60 degrees for 3 consecutive days dry to install corkine. So that's happening. So, and then as soon as that playground is done, the plan is to start the other side this summer as well. So, making these outdoor spaces is not only a tremendous community benefit, but also a tremendous social emotional learning benefit for our kids. Sam said earlier in his presentation, we have the same thing, the vast majority of our discipline issues happen during unstructured times. So recess, lunch, the bus, before and after school. So creating recess spaces that are more engaging, healthier, does certainly help us, help our kids with that unstructured time. So we're making good progress there. I'll show you some pics later. And we have a lot of positive behavioral system strategies. Sam talked about the Cub Cash. We have Proud Pause. So it's just the same version, the same thing. It's positively reinforcing expected behavior frequently from all staff, from the whole school community. Talked about the school adjustment counselor. And one thing we need to do a better job of, I need to do a better job of, is supporting our playground aides more. They're the people that are outside with our kids during recess every day, and they come in for just a couple hours, so they don't have the opportunity to get to know the kids as well as our staff does. So we need to do a better job at educating them on how to do conflict resolution, how to solve problems in the moment with kids, how to take advantage of a teachable moment so kids can learn the skills they need to be successful in unstructured times. I don't think the answer is to take away unstructured time. I think our kids need to learn how to navigate that. And taking it away or adding more structure, I'm not sure is the right answer. I just feel like we need to give our kids the tools to do that. You know, life is unstructured. Sometimes adults, we go into unstructured settings a lot. We have to learn those skills now, or when we get to college or the workforce and it's unstructured, we have to be able to make good choices and be able to solve conflict. So, all right, next slide. Keep going. Just my tech skills. Okay, beautiful picture of our part of our new playground of the basketball courts. Most of you have driven by there. These basketball courts are used every day, and that's just part of the playground. Go ahead, Chrissy. This is, Sam mentioned community meetings at BA. We have community meetings at RO as well every month. It's really a vehicle that we use to provide social emotional learning once a month through all of our kids, giving the same messages. We've partnered with the Oliver Ames School Council to help us with community meetings. And this is, we've had Oliver Ames students interact with our kids several times this year. Always has been amazing. But they did actually ran a community meeting in April, I believe. And they went, the OA School Council members went to classrooms and connected their pillars for their Oliver Ames School Council, like their values, their code, and they connected it with our Constitution in really creative ways. And these kids actually came up with the lessons to do that. So our kids could really relate to older kids, but also see that, oh, what we believe in at RO is really very connected to what's going on at Oliver Ames, and from kids, which is really powerful. So we know that our kids listen to grown-ups all day long. And so they listen to me a lot too. They listen to their teachers a lot. So having them have a chance to listen to older kids is really powerful. So we look forward to expanding that relationship with Oliver Ames. This is just an example of our Constitution. You can't miss it. It's huge when you walk into our lobby. It's in every hallway. We spend money through our PTA to make printed copies, and this is everywhere. So it's a constant reminder to the kids of our agreements. Go ahead, Chrissy. These are our Proud Paws that hang outside of our classrooms that kids earn. We have Proud Paw raffles every month where we raffle off really cool things and privileges in school for earning things. We also connect our Constitution. Our kids vote for the RO Citizen of the Month every month, and those kids have come with a celebration with me. They almost act as a monthly student council. It's not just a celebration and a reward, but I also ask them questions about their experience at RO, what they might want to change, what's working, what's not working. So really, we've been talking about that a few times tonight too, student voice. We started our meeting today with student voice here. So that's really, really important to have students feel like they do have a voice in how their school goes. This is just the other side of the playground. You can see with the chain link fences is where the Corkine will go. That is where all the fun stuff is on the playground. Unfortunately, our kids, but the open space just has been such an improvement alone. Our kids are really, really happy with this improved space. All right. And finally, our last goal is around consistency in curriculum and developing our units of study, which is something we've been working on for many years. This year, we've made significant progress in this. And this is another equity piece to ensure that all of our kids in all of our classes across the grade level have very similar expectations in terms of the standards, the skills and understandings they're working toward, even the assessments, how we're measuring their progress is consistent across grade levels and also vertically aligned through the grade levels. So this is a very important project, and nothing worth having is ever easy, right, in life. So this has been a labor of love, and then we've made significant progress this year. Click that. So here's a data point. At September 2023, 0% of our science and math units for grade 4 were completed. And this week, we finished our science and math units for grade 4. So 0 to 100 in a year. And I just want to, if I can you click? I want to just. Do we have time? I kind of walk you through a unit to show you what that looks like.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You may not be as excited about this as I am. I'm trying to be.
I appreciate your excitement. Yes. And if we could say, Ann
Yes, please.
Weintraub is here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she has been so instrumental at this movement of the unit writing. And it's a big testament to her and her leadership in her role as director of curriculum, being able to progress, because we were
We're talking about this for years.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And having somebody that their sole, this is a, well, it's not her sole job. But it's not her sole job. She's got a lot. But she has been so great at working with and helping the teachers understand why it's so important. Not just let's do it, but why. And the conversations that they're having are incredible.
Yeah. So if you're a fourth grade teacher, you can just go to this site. This is not just a vision anymore. It's now reality. And I am doing Unit 1 in math. I'm a fourth grade teacher. I can just click Unit 1 in math and just scroll down. You can see the transfer goals, like the big picture items. Then the standards we're working on that unit. Keep going. So these are the standards for my unit. These are the big ideas. Keep going. These are the enduring understandings. These are the essential questions. So this helps really frame learning for kids. These questions they're not just, they really help frame the learning, and they're going to be in all 11 fourth grade classes. So all 250 kids are asking the same questions and referring back to these big questions. That's big in terms of, making a cohesive, vertically aligned curriculum. Keep going. So for this unit, these are the vocabulary words. These are what the kids will know. These are the skills they'll be able to do. Keep going. Now we have common assessments. We have a common rubric. This is how all 11 teachers will score this open response in this unit. That's the open response they'll use. These are the must-do assessments that they'll do. These are the can-do, so teachers have some flexibility. Keep going. And then stage 3 is the learning plan. So this is your plan book, essentially. I mean, I spent so many hours as a teacher at my kitchen table, late at night, on Sundays, planning lessons. And every teacher at RO does that. And people don't realize, unless you live with a teacher, which I do, and I was one, how much time that is outside of school.
Yeah.
It's so much family time. It's so much. This is essentially their plan book. And they can fine tune it, but their learning plan is set for them. And many of these are linked. They can just click that and there's your lesson. So I really think, as much of a labor of love this is, I believe our teachers will come to really appreciate it, because it does take work away from them and aligns them as a team. And most importantly, aligns things for our kids. This is such an emphasis for our district. I know I'm here representing RO. We're only one piece of the big puzzle here. We are really working hard as a district, and we'll talk more about this soon. Dr. Cabral will talk a lot about the strategic plan we're working on for the next 5 years, but it's all about aligning school for our kids, how we do school for our kids. So as they journey through Easton Public Schools, they have similar language, similar learning expectations, similar values, just a similar path, similar ways we communicate. This is a big, huge overarching goal. Okay, Chrissy. Okay, So, this is just a hokey slide for me. I think we can skip this. So I'm going to stop there. All right.
All right.
So I'll take any questions.
Questions, comments?
In both of your presentations, I've loved you.
Put on your mic.
Yes, I know. Okay. In both of your presentations, I've loved your enthusiasm and your excitement. It makes me really proud that my son is in your school and was in your school, and it just makes me proud to be from Easton.
Thanks, Lauren. We love Hunter.
Thank you for all you do and your staff, but I do love the fact that once everybody has this curriculum done, because that makes me crazy when every third grader is doing something different in math or whatever. It makes me crazy. So thank you very much for that.
Kelly, do you have any questions or comments? Did we lose you?
No, I tried to unmute and I ended up turning my video off.
Okay.
That kind of day. I was going to say the same thing Laura did. I really want to echo that the enthusiasm really comes through. I really appreciate the effort of all the teachers to make this happen and to execute the vision that they're laying out for the schools. And I appreciate the measurable results that we're seeing. I think it's really powerful to see the continuity across all of the grades for all of that K through 5th grade. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. Well deserved. Our teachers have taken on a lot this year. With the science of reading is just one piece of it. Teaching is a hard job, period. And we've taken a lot of initiatives in a short amount of time. And none of this happens without their hard work every single day. None of it. So thank you for saying that.
And even with a few months under our belts of using the program, we had other districts coming and wanting to see our teachers in action. And that was only just a few months of that. And it was remarkable. And now our science curriculum, the writers of the science curriculum know Adam. They are asking if we could be a model district for them. So that was an email that just came through, which is really amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hot off the press. A lot of hot off the presses tonight. Yeah.
A lot to be proud of.
Yeah.
I love your enthusiasm as well in the presentation that you make data. I love data. It's like one of my favorite things in the world. I love everything being measurable and numbers and percentages, but to make it come alive is really valuable.
We're still collecting the end of the year data, which is really the exciting part.
Yep.
Sam had his data meeting today. I know he had a great day. And ours is on Wednesday of next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the validation of all our hard work.
Yep. Yeah, I actually put a note right here on the front cover to ask for follow-up on some of that year-end
Happy
data,
to.
if we can get that
Yep.
when it's available, because I'd love to see that. And then the other thing that really that stood out to me through both presentations is we're developing the next strategic plan, but the work that you're doing now and the work that the goals you have set align so thoroughly already with what some of those major themes that we're considering in the next strategic plan. So I think it's really coming together. And we've talked a lot about the continuity throughout the district and having, one of the themes of the plan or a request or feedback that's been brought up a lot is to build that consistency in many ways. So academics, communication, discipline and behavior expectations and all of that. So it is really great to see that continuum already beginning. And I think it'll help, when the strategic plan is, fully put together and adopted. I think we're in a good spot to kind of hit the ground running, continuing the good work that's already in place. And then I also love to see, as we're seeing some of the results, it's piecing together so many of those. As a school committee, a lot of decisions come before us. There are a lot of things that we advocate for in terms of budget or approving curriculum or advocating for CPA funds for outdoor spaces and capital expenditures and things that we may negotiate in a contract. And to see that come together in a way that really it's just to see the results of all of those decisions and that they're coming together in a way that we had hoped for is really gratifying. So I appreciate this process that I know it takes a ton of work to go through all of this, but from a school committee perspective, it's incredibly valuable for validating the work that we're doing and that things are moving in the right direction. So I appreciate that tremendously.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Okay.
So before you vote on these, if I could just mention a couple of things. I just want to highlight some important components of both of these. And I think you'll also see them when you see the upcoming presentations. And that's the importance of support. We're asking a tremendous amount from our administrators and our teachers and our support staff. And that requires a lot of support. Many parents have not heard of interventionists before or have never had them even for older students before and may not know their purpose or their function, but I think in both of them you can see just how important they are to backfilling skills and as we know better, we do better, and being able to incorporate them and have them be a part of the community that assists our students. And being able to manipulate our schedule in a way that makes best use of their services is really important. Having the position of the curriculum administrator, it's difficult for people sometimes to understand how somebody who may not be serving students as a front-facing person or have a caseload of students assigned to them, but having that consistent support of staff who are working on something so important like the units of instruction, it is very difficult to ask them to work on something and not have consistent feedback for them, consistent support, providing consistent time for that to happen, and having a consistent person that they can turn to when they're having difficulty or when they're trying to align things. And having the person be consistent across grade levels and across schools, you can see the tremendous gains in such a short amount of time. How long have we been talking about the units? And it isn't a lack of trying on the part of the teachers. They have so much on their plate already that support for them is really tremendously important. And so, so we appreciate being able to see evidence of that work. And I also very much appreciate the focus on the achievement gaps and the students that are having the most difficulty making gains. And when they talk about the data of students who make typical or less than typical, those are the students, I think maybe for people who aren't familiar with that system or familiar of teaching or familiar of working with students, intuitively it sounds like those who have the largest gains to make, well, yeah, they should be making the hugest gains. But research tells us and our practice shows us that the students that are below average are the ones that are the most difficult to move forward, but then to close gaps and stay with their peers. And so the fact that you're seeing the numbers you're seeing, I wish you had that benchmark data because you would be shocked at how amazing those percentages are for moving those students not only up to skill level, but surpassing them and making that ambitious gain. That is remarkable. And again, think of all the things we just talked about that our staff is doing every single day simultaneously. So it's a new world of education, a lot of demands. This district is excelling and exceeding, and our kids are achieving because of the phenomenal people that work here every day.
You know, I'm also wondering if when we have our data presentations around MCAS, I'm wondering if we should include our more data besides just MCAS.
Yeah,
And have some of the K-2 data and the end of year data,
Yep.
because if we do it in the fall when the MCAS comes out, we can show you the end of year data as well. I think that'd be
You are
wonderful.
reading my mind, yes. Yeah, I was thinking, when can we get this? So we
Yes.
get MCAS in the
Yeah,
fall, but
yeah.
we don't see the
Right.
K to 2. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, to get those updates,
Great.
at another touch point through the year, I think would be really exciting and helpful.
The other thing I just want to point out, the unit, I'm so glad that Mr. Getchell brought you through what the unit looks like. When the units are complete, stage 1, so there's 3 stages. Stage 1 had the enduring understandings, essential questions, the skills, the knowledge, the standards. That will be published to the public. Stage 2, which are our performance tests and assessments, will not, nor will stage 3, which is the learning plan, because that is that's in constant flux. And understandably, we're not going to publish our assessments for specific reasons, as I'm sure you can imagine
Good
why.
idea. Yeah.
But yes, we're going to, on the curriculum page for, under my office, we will have a specific part that will have all of this housed for parents to be able to go, and not just parents, obviously, the community, anybody looking at our website will be able to go and look at what our curriculum is.
Great. All right, well done. Okay, anything
Thank
else
you.
for Mr. Getchell, or we'll move back to the
All
front?
set.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Oops, sorry.
So, the vote to approve the school improvement plan, so we can take these separately. So, can I get a motion to approve the Blanche Ames School Improvement Plan with the note that we will expect follow-up on a specific EL goal? For that? And a second?
Luca, second.
Roll call vote?
Luca, yes.
Star, yes? Kelly, you there?
I can't hear Lauren if she's speaking. I don't know if she's off, so
Loomis, yes.
Okay. Rocio, yes.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. Okay, and next up, can I get a motion to approve the Richardson Olmsted School Improvement Plan with the expectation of a follow-up on the EL learning goal?
So moved to Luca.
And can I get a second?
Second, Loomis.
Roll call vote?
To Luca, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
Rocio, yes.
All right, great, okay. Next item on the agenda is schedule of payments, and if my records are correct, we have actually not approved any warrants since the last time the committee met. Okay, but I understand there is something coming, okay.
Out of order.
Yes, I think it was just a courtesy note in case any of us are tracking, which I kind of mentally do. I'm like, wait, didn't we approve the next one? Yeah, so anyway. Okay. All right, so our student representative to the school committee update. So our student representative had to head out to attend the EMS concert. She's helping out there. Let me just double check and make sure that we certainly got a good update earlier. Let me just make sure that there wasn't something that she wanted us to read. Okay. So I will make a motion then to table the student representative update to the next meeting. Can I
Second, to Luca.
roll call vote?
To Luca, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
Rocio, yes.
All right. All right. Next item on the agenda is a discussion and vote to change the date and time of the June 6, 2024 school committee meeting. Dr. Cabral, or do you want me to just dive into this one?
Sure, it's just a schedule change because of a lack of quorum on the
Yes.
published date.
Yep. All right. So our proposed date, our proposed change is that we move the June 6th committee meeting to June 5th. And June 5th is the day of the EEA retirement party. So we would propose starting the meeting at 6:30 p.m. Any questions or comments about that? Okay, all righty. So then can I get a motion to move the June 6th, 2024 school committee meeting to June 5th at 6:30 PM?
So moved, Loomis.
And can I get a second?
Percio, second.
Roll call vote?
Luca, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
Percio, yes.
Okay. And then next item is a vote to change the OA School Improvement Plan presentation to the June 20th, the OA School Improvement Plan presentation to June 20th, 24 school committee meeting. Dr. Cabral?
So because of the prior change, of course, Mrs. Kavanaugh was prepared to present on the originally published date, but because the date is changing, she is not available due to a prior commitment, and so is asking for your permission to present at the June 20th school committee meeting.
Okay. Any questions or comments about that? So we'll hear EMS at the June 5th school committee meeting, and OA will go on the 20th. And that still gets us in for this year. Okay. All right. Can I get a motion then to change the date for the Oliver Ames School Improvement Plan presentation from June 6th to June 20th?
Move DeLuca.
And can I get a second?
Second, Loomis.
Roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
Percio, yes.
Okay. All right, moving right along. Next item is a vote to appoint the superintendent to the Bi-County Collaborative Board of Directors for 2024-2025. Dr. Cabral?
Thank you. Easton Public Schools is a member of the Bi-County Collaborative, BICO, which is a special education collaborative. I serve on the board of directors and have for the 7 years of my superintendency. This requires a vote of the school committee every year. Once again, I would recommend that I serve on the board. It literally gives us a seat at the table for decision-making, policy-making, budget consideration, and so forth. I am excited about some changes that are happening with BICO. As I've reported in the past, I'm on the facilities subcommittee. There were some significant facilities challenges that were causing impeding the growth of the program. And so now I'm excited to say that we have finally leased a new facility in Walpole, a decommissioned middle school in Walpole. So we're thrilled about that for a lot of reasons, but one of which is it's going to create a sense of community for these programs, which traditionally have been either part of another school system, different programs in different school systems that have space in their buildings. It's not necessarily a space specifically for the program, and or businesses, business office buildings. And so, you know, part of wanting our students to have the experience, part of what we want for students is for them to have the experience of community, have a school that they go to that looks like a school and is a school with other peers. And so we're really excited about this development, but it's also going to allow for growth. And there is planned growth, programs that are very much needed that we have provided feedback on. And they're going to be serving our students in the future, particularly some elementary programs that we've been very much in need of. And that will also increase enrollment from both member and non-member districts. So I'm excited about the direction that this is going for the collaborative and for our students that participate in collaborative programs.
How many students are there? What? I'm sorry?
That attend the Bi-County Collaborative.
We have 4 right
4 from Easton attend the Bi-County Collaborative.
And how many students altogether?
Oh, they have multiple programs, hundreds of students in multiple programs. Three of them will be moving to the school in Walpole. 3 of the programs will be moving to the school in Walpole. And their administrative offices will be moving there as well.
Sorry, my mic's off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Was there anything else you wanted to?
No, that's all.
Okay, all right. Any
Unless there
questions
are
or comments for Dr. Cabral? No? All right. Well, we thank you for your willingness to serve on the board and to give Easton a voice in the operations of the collaborative, which is an important partner for us. So can I get a vote to, a motion, ugh, all tongue-tied, a motion to appoint Dr. Cabral to the Bi-County Collaborative Board of Directors for 2024 and 2025?
So moved, Loomis.
Second, DeLuca?
Roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
Firstio, yeah.
Okay. And then next item, a discussion regarding policy file KHC, which regards the distribution and posting of promotional materials.
Okay. So we have a policy, the school committee has a policy for promotional materials in flyer form. And we have also, the school committee has created disclaimers that go on those flyers, and that has seemed to run very successfully. They're pre-approved by the superintendent's office and then disseminated as requested. The question that I'm bringing forward to the school committee is, if you look on the second page on number 4, there doesn't seem to be such latitude or ability for people to request signage. In fact, number 4 says very clearly, the display of signage to promote activities, events, or fundraisers will not be allowed outside the building on school property. We have had requests in the past. We have had signs put up in the past, events like the PMC bike ride, Pride Day, different events happening in the district, that had they been flyers, the school department could have allowed for them to be displayed. But the policy strictly prohibits that. And so we wanted to just bring for your consideration to review this and see what your thoughts were about having a system in place very similar or identical to the flyer procedure that we use, or promotional materials that go out to students at school for signage outside of schools. And if you wanted to set any parameters for that, or guidance, or size, or anything of that nature, if that's something that the school committee could potentially revisit.
Okay.
Do we discuss now?
Yeah, we can discuss sort of initial thoughts now. If we decide to move forward with something, we do have the policy subcommittee. So you guys could maybe, and I don't think there's not an urgency around this. I know, I think it's topical because it just came up.
Especially now at the end of the school year, but if we could have it in place for the beginning of the school year, that would really be helpful to at least be able to advise people in the community properly.
Yeah, so we can discuss now and then see if we want to have the policy subcommittee take a look at this over the summer, maybe.
This isn't regarding like the banners and stuff like
Right,
that. That's a
separate,
different one.
separate, yes.
I'm really glad that we're discussing this, because I do think something like the PMC Kids Ride, which is happening at the school and being promoted by the principals, is really something that we should advertise, and the signs, you know, maybe we can limit the amount of them so it's not obnoxious on the driveways, but I think 1 or 2 around 1, 2, 3, 5 around the campus is certainly reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, again, understanding that this has happened in practice in the past, and I haven't found any problems with any of the signage that has been put out there. So I appreciate you recognizing that the policy actually had that in that, so that we haven't. But I
just want to make sure I know
Yeah.
that it was your school committee secretary that did notice,
Yeah.
that did bring that to
All
our
right,
attention.
thank you.
Lindsay, so-
Thank you. Yeah, so I fully support discussing and perhaps writing policy about this, and that being something that gets tackled over the summer. Nancy or Kelly, do you have any thoughts either way?
I'm in full support as well. I think like Lauren, whether it be the PMC event or whether it be Pride Day, I think it's important for activities, community activities that the kids engage in and our school community engages in to be supported at the schools as well. I think we just have to find the right way to do so.
Okay.
And plus with the tricentennial coming up, there may be a
There'll
lot of
be
stuff
probably
going on for
quite a
that,
few
because that's a
things.
whole year.
Yeah, yep, yeah, so good timing to make sure that we're able to
So let's
to
get that
promote
done.
some of those
Okay.
activities. Okay. All
Great,
right, so I'll
thank you.
leave that to you as our policy
Thank you.
liaison.
I got it on my list.
All right, great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate that.
Okay. All right, next up, public comments. Would any of the esteemed members of the public who are here have any comments for us? Okay.
Never.
All right, so none tonight. Next up, superintendent notes. Dr. Cabral.
Yes, I would love to talk about all the celebrations, ceremonies, events, awards, presentations, culminating activities, but I know all of you enjoy doing that, so I won't. But it is a very busy month. Most of us, spouses, children, we kind of say see ya in June.
Sayonara.
And so I can't even believe that it's wrapping up very soon with a couple of important events next week that I will allow you to discuss. And I just appreciate all of the people that put all of those things together, because that is a tremendous amount of work. You can see by the quality of the presentations and by the attendees and how wonderful and joyous all of them are. And so I really want to thank all of the administrators and staff members who participate in making them such memorable experiences for the students and their families. And the only other item I have is that we are way into hiring season now. And so I would just remind anyone who is watching or will watch this that we post all of our open positions on School Spring and also on our website. And I would encourage people to please check that regularly, because our offerings change often as there are changes even in the school department. As we fill positions, people sometimes move from one position to another, and it opens up another position. And so that is very dynamic and is changing frequently, and we are looking for as many qualified applicants as possible who are interested in applying. And so we encourage you to take a look at that. There are a lot of interviews and things happening right now. And again, at a very busy time of the year, we have committees and sample lessons, and it's an awful lot for everyone. And so we're almost there, guys. We're almost there to just get a breather and then go work hard again in the summer. So I just want to thank everybody for all the work they're putting into that as well.
Thank you. Assistant Superintendent notes. Mrs. Pruitt?
Thank you. So we are offering for the 4th year now, the Summer Enrichment Academy. And we're going to call it now the SEA/Math Acceleration Academy. So I just want all families to know that those registration or statements of interest will be coming out tomorrow, so that parents can put in their request for their child to attend the Summer Enrichment Academy. K through 6, high school does it a little bit, K through 8, high school does it a little bit differently. So those forms, Google Forms, will be going out tomorrow. I do want to alert everybody that the middle school model is changing this year. So the middle school will not be having 4 straight weeks of the Summer Enrichment Academy as we have in the past. They're going to do 2 longer weeks. We found that we were having some attendance issues at the middle school. So we are staggering the weeks, hoping that the attendance will be a little bit more consistent and extending the times. Also, with the Math Acceleration Academy grant that Mr. Davidson was able to get for the district, we will be utilizing that. So the last week in July, which goes into August 1st is the last day, will be the Math Acceleration Academy, which is an extended day. So that will be 8 to 3. So please pay attention to the times and the dates that are on the Google Forms, so that you are aware of what you are registering your children for. And at that time, we've had a long meeting, so I'll say that's it for now.
Okay. All right. School committee notes. Nancy?
All right.
Fire away.
I mean, there's so much
I
to
know,
talk
I
about, but can I bring up graduation?
Of
I'll bring it.
course,
All right.
of course.
So June 1st, graduation, hopefully at Frothingham Park. And that's always a wonderful occasion. And and like you said, there's so many events going on and everything. So everybody that puts it together, great job. And that's it for me.
Lauren?
I'm looking forward to graduation as well. And all of the end of year stuff, I will let you.
No, go ahead if you want to.
No.
If there's specific ones you want to.
I'm good.
Okay, all right. All right, is Kelly still on?
Looks like she's gone.
Okay. Okay,
I'm
Kelly.
here. I do not have anything else to add. Nope.
Okay.
I am transitioning to an airport, so I will let you guys keep going.
Thank you so much for joining us. All righty, so let's see. So you guys haven't talked about all the stuff, but we won't name everything, but a few highlights from the past couple of weeks were I just wanted to point out the unified track meet that happened at OA, and there were some volunteers. I know the lacrosse team volunteered. I think maybe some other teams may have volunteered as well to help out at that, but my understanding it was a really great event. So we appreciate all the work that goes into that, and that's providing that opportunity to our students. There's been a million things that have happened in the past few weeks. Outside of all the senior activities and having their last day and their prom, there was Broadway night, which was just fantastic. It's available on ECAT if anybody didn't get a chance to watch. The performances are really tremendous. We've got student council awards. Tempo awards were last week. Thank you to the volunteer committee who put together the senior parade that happened on Sunday. So that's not, it's organized by a group it's a non-school group that puts that together. It's a group of parents and alumni parents. The kids had a great time, and to just see the route decorated from OA all the way down to sheep pasture was really beautiful. Lots of signs and posters and balloons, and then the kids decorated their cars. People lined the streets, even though the weather wasn't that great, but people were still outside cheering them on. It was a really great day and a nice way for the community to get involved in the graduation exercises and activities. The school does, I think I counted, there's like 10-ish, right? Graduation related events at least that the school organizes.
Yes.
So to have this on top of it, it was just a nice way, again, to get some community, some of the businesses on Main Street participated, and they had some good sponsors. So thank you to all the volunteers and sponsors who helped make that happen. It was a really special event. And then everybody stay tuned to your school calendars for the just endless number of events coming up. So I know Blanche Ames has an art show, right? Is that tomorrow? The PMC, the PMC Kids Challenge, is that happening? Is that also at Blanche on Saturday? 7 and 8 spring concert is tonight. Then there are, field days and other concerts coming up. So a lot of fun stuff happening.
Monogram Awards night.
Yep, Monogram, and then, next night, Monogram night, class night, graduation.
I think Six Flags is tomorrow too, I think,
Oh, is
isn't
that
it?
the middle
For the
school?
middle school, yeah.
Yeah.
It is tomorrow.
That
I wish
is.
them all luck.
Okay.
Luck and fun. Luck to the teachers, fun and all the support staff, and fun for the kids.
Awesome. All right. Oh, and also thank you to everybody who came out for town meeting on Monday night, helped us pass the budget and other really important warrant articles. That's an important part of our democracy in action. So we appreciate everybody who hung in there for not too late of a night. It wasn't a record breaker late
Doesn't
night.
even feel like it was this week anymore.
I know. It's such a crazy time of year. All right. So next up on the agenda, I make a motion to go into executive session to return to open session pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, subsection 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining for Easton Educators Association, Unit A, Unit B, and paraprofessionals, and Unit A MOA Flex Block.
Second,
Oh, right. And roll,
DeLuca.
roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
And
Percio, yes.
Okay, great. Okay. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Our last item on tonight's agenda was a possible vote to approve Unit A MOA Flex Block, and we are not voting on that this evening. So we will, do we need to take a vote on not voting? No, it's possible vote.
Right.
We're good. Okay, all right. So last item, before we adjourn, our next meeting is Wednesday, June 5th at 6:30 PM. And with that, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Second, DeLuca.
Roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes?
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good